Hello and welcome to another video. And I have received some good comments on the previous video, so I'm making a change. It was pointed out to me that I was talking too close to the microphone. And indeed, you can hear my breathing through the mic, so I'm sorry about that. And I've changed the audio somewhat here, and hopefully that will be enough to sort it out. So as you can see here today, we're playing Mega Man X. We have played one Sega Genesis game. We have played two rather, and 64 games. So I figured it would be only fair to play an SNES game, even though I didn't really have an SNES when I was a kid. So, although if you look at my channel history, you'll see that this is by far one of the games I play the most. So this may even seem at odds with the theming of the video today, which is all about experimentation, but it had been a while since I played this game, so I guess it's a nice change of pace. Alright, so theming for today. Today we're talking about exposure being the key to success. And as per usual, I'll start with some backstory as we defeat the beetle here. You've probably heard this in other videos, but this is like a very genius way of teaching the player, especially if you only play the NES Mega Mans, because you're kind of stuck here, right? And so if you only know to jump and shoot, you're like, well, guess game's over. But as it turns out, you can mole jump, so there you go. That's how you escape. Very smart way of them teaching the player that. So yeah. So the central thesis of this video here is that being exposed to lots of things is the absolute best way that you can both develop interests and also discover yourself. So this may seem a bit obvious, and it really is when you think of it. But especially if you're a parent, this, as I found, can really help and guide the way you will. As I was saying, as a parent, this can really help guide how you will present stuff to your kids. And, well, I suppose, let's say really a traumatic experience, that's not the case, but something that I've learned from myself with things that happened to me, and I'm trying not to make the same mistakes as the kids grow up, and, well, hopefully that won't be a mistake, but I guess we'll see, right? So Vio usually shows up when I'm about here. Where's the car? It's been a long time. There's an exact spot that you can station yourself, and I think it's right here. And then Vio shows up like really fast. But I guess. Oh, there you go. So, while we wait for Vio to defeat me here. So, generally, if you stop and think about the stuff that you're good at, hopefully there's lots of stuff, there are lots of things that you're good at, you find that the things that you're best at are the ones that you invested the most time in, which obviously makes sense. So there's that age-old, I think it's like 10,000 hours to become a master at something, right? And maybe the number of hours varies depending on what you're trying to do, but obviously the more time you spend doing something, the better you'll be at it. Speedrunning, of course, one thing that is very true now that I'm here playing Mega Man X, and I'm reminded of how much I played this intro stage. Now, the next thing is, of course, also obvious, and maybe this will be like my most obvious video to date. Hopefully not. Hopefully there will be some insights as you go through. But this is the English version, so we're seeing Chill Penguin there, not it's IC Penguigo, I think, right, in Japanese or something. But yeah, like being exposed to stuff And having them available to you is a very key part of you being able to practice and become a master at whatever you want to become a master at, even in a period of your life, which is when you were a kid, that you're not even aware that you would eventually like to become a master at something, when you're really discovering your interests, if you will, right? So, for example, when you are in school, I'll talk about how it happens here in Brazil, though I suppose it's not too dissimilar in most places. You study general subjects when you are in preschool, like you study math and you study languages, and eventually physics, chemistry, all that kind of jazz. Well, this is embarrassing. Is he not reaching there? Hello? There you go. You can see I'm pretty rusty. There's a whole jumping on the slope thing. Like this. If you jump on the slope, Mega Man jumps higher and then further. So you'll see that people jump from here to here on a downward slope. And here we get the speed boots. So if you don't have the things that even you were interested in to practice, you are forever blocked from eventually becoming a master on those things. So let's think about an example. Let's say that you like, I don't know, playing. You would perhaps, because you don't know that, right? But let's say that you would be a very good musician or pianist, which is, I guess, the same as a musician, but still. If you practiced and you really have the talent and the inclination to it, but let's say you don't have a piano at home, well then it's not gonna be impossible for sure. You're probably gonna, I don't know, you could go somewhere where they have a piano, public library or whatever, and then you could practice there. But if you don't even have at least a keyboard or something, it's gonna be really hard for you to like practice on a regular basis and become better at whatever you're trying to improve, right? So this is very obvious, right? But we, as a whole, do things that are not very logical at times, you know? Or maybe you don't have the space, or you don't have the money. So another tidbit here, if you dash and shoot the lemon, as we say, it does 2 points of damage. Rather than 1. And he's really not cooperating today. And ideally don't let him touch you, because that does a lot of damage. There you go, damages, nice. So yeah, one of those games that perhaps not the best to talk, because you know I kind of have to focus at some parts, for example the boss fights, but we'll try our best here. Now another thing that you have to realize, and as you become older it becomes more obvious to you, is that, man, you have a lot of time when you were a kid. Like, a lot of time. Have you ever, like, realized the amount of time you had when you were a kid as compared to today? Like, I had some Legos and obviously video games and other things I would do. And I would just, like, waste hours, man, sitting down and just assembling my Legos and doing that kind of stuff, you know? And, man, it's really good that we have this amount of time when we were kids. But you have to kind of, I would say, weaponize that to your advantage, especially if you were a father or a parent, and you realize that, right? That kids have lots of spare time, which is by design, I suppose. And, you know, knowing that, expose your kids to the most amount of things that you can, because it's when they're really going to be more inclined to learn things, it will be easier for them to learn things. So, for example, let's say your kid demonstrates an interest in, as I'm in the music example here, let's say they demonstrate some interest in music, right? And so you'd like them to start practicing. Let's go with the piano, since that was my first example. Well, you could try and buy a new or used keyboard, which is definitely not a piano, but it's quite similar, right? And then just leave it there, man. Just leave it there. Sometimes during the day, your kid is just gonna turn on the piano or turn on the keyboard and play something. It's not gonna be coherent. It's not gonna be good. It's gonna be whatever. But they're just gonna be in touch with the instrument and exercise their creativity, And next thing you know, they're trying to coordinate some notes. So it's not random anymore. They're actually trying to do something that is akin to a melody or something like that, right? And then as they start demonstrating more and more interest, then you can think, well, maybe I could buy a little book or something that I could read with them and start teaching. And even if you don't know, you can try and learn a little bit, because as adults we have the advantage of like being able to read text, right? and parse all that, and so you have the ability to learn faster as you grow, and the ways that are effective to learn and the ones that are not. And so you can kind of pre-parse that for your kids and become some sort of makeshift teacher, if you will. It won't like substitute an actual instructor or anything like that, but it goes a long way, This is the part where the platforms, they fall. There's a missile now. We can go through here. There we go. And you see with time that like these little interactions that they have with the thing that they were marginally interested at first, they become something more, The diving starts, man. Oh, it was really fast. Already? Okay. Man, he's diving not a lot. Well, as I say that, he dives again. This was my most hated thing during speedrunning, man. It was like, because you can dive, I guess, a random amount of time, so you can just like dive forever and your time is toast. Here comes the eggs. Okay, there you go. Now I can go for another example, and these are obviously gonna be very personal, because in the end these videos are just me relaying my experience to you, and I am not an old person yet, or at least I would like to think I'm not. Yeah, but I have learned a couple of things, as everyone has, and so hopefully this will be useful both for myself to reflect on the things that I think about and if they're correct or not, and they can change course, and obviously for people that are younger than me and are trying to, well, what should I do, then maybe this will help you out. Hopefully it will, right? So another example, and this I'll use my daughter as an example now, is that she's very creative, She likes coming up with stories and drawing a lot. And so my wife, she's a... Okay, yeah, this is the part of the head, yeah. This is not an easy jump to make, I recall that. There we go. Nice. Now we get the head part of the armor here, if I'm not mistaken. No, the cannon. And so what happens is that my wife, she sits with her and then gives her some paper, and crayons, and she starts drawing And every day you can see that drawing gets a little bit better, you know, and this is easy to compare because I'm absolutely terrible at drawing. Like I'm dreadful at it. And maybe early to say what my kids' aptitudes are, but I guess it's easy for me as a parent to see that my son, for example, is maybe not that inclined for more creative work. And so as compared to my daughter, it's... Come on, man. Oh, there you go. There's a possibility of using the shotgun ice, the charge one, to make a platform and then you jump over here, but it's been so long since I did that you know, I'm just not gonna bother. Okay. Alright, let me check my topics here. Oh yeah, one more thing, and this is already said in the previous video, that as you get older, learning stuff gets more and more difficult, and so if you have interests at a younger age, you kind of have to weaponize that to your advantage, you know? So if you say, hey man, I really like even something simple, I really like video games, okay. So try your best to have the most exposure to video games that you can, because that's going to be the part where you're going to really learn to interact with the medium and become good at it. And eventually, I don't know, you want to make your own games or something like that. So that is something to keep in mind. The flame mammoth always starts jumping. It's something interesting to know here. Yep. And as you get older, it's gonna be harder to learn stuff. It's not gonna be impossible, but you clearly see that even the exposure factor is not in itself sufficient to make it happen. You know, you're gonna have to put a lot more time into learning everything, and even with like sometimes lots of effort in your part, it's not gonna be easy. So yeah, this is somewhat more geared towards parents, I suppose, this video, because it's something that I've learned that I'm trying to do in my everyday life. Let's see, what else? I have written here. So try what you can at least once. So it's very hard to know what you like. You know, some things, they may seem not interesting to you at first, and sometimes, you know, you may be correct in your initial impressions, but you know, sometimes you're wrong, man, or frequently you're wrong. There's something that I didn't know I was gonna like. I never really did much in terms of like skating or speed skating or that kind of jazz when I was younger, but once I got older, I had a girlfriend that showed me speed skating with, I suppose, those big wheels, you know, that they compete and that all that, but not on ice, just on regular rollerblades. And I was very resistant to it at first. I thought, man, I never liked doing this. And I never had the interest because I was very afraid of getting hurt if I fell, or, you know, I heard horror stories of people that that did skating, right? And so the falls can really hurt a lot. So I didn't want that for me. And as she introduced me to skating, to speed skating rather, it was like, hey, you really should try it. It's really fun. And I kept insisting on not doing it. But, you know, eventually, once I got over my initial resistance, And I ended up doing it. Man, like it was the best thing. It was really, really fun. I don't know why I was so resistant to doing it in the first place, you know? And that happens with lots of things, man, that you have it in your mind that I'm not gonna like that. No, that's not for me. And then I maybe should have killed this guy. Okay, let's wait for the thing to pass. All right. There we go. And then when you end up finally doing the thing that you were resistant on doing, and then it turns out it was super fun and you were just like being a dumbass, you know? So try everything at least once, and then you see if you really don't like it or if you're just being resistant for whatever reason. But once you end up doing stuff that you find interesting, then you have to up the exposure the most you can. You have to up the exposure. So I'll probably die to Boomer Quanger here, I think, because my HP is not looking good right now. But we'll see. I guess I can just camp up here. Oh, that was... Once he throws the little thing in his head there, he can't teleport anymore, so that's the key to a slow, however, safe fight. So just climb in here. Man, okay, never mind. Okay, he's just fucking with me now. Dude, let's stop teleporting, man. Come on up. Dude. Okay, we're good. There we go. And this fight is a bit nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. Like the actual fast threat where you just like keep on jumping and shooting you with the first stage charge shot it's kind of hard to execute. So you know, let's not do that. Oh, another thing that is kind of an unfortunate consequence of real life is that sometimes you like to do things that you can't do, man. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. It sucks, but it's true. So there's things that you can like very much and you can be very adept at doing, but you won't have the economical possibility of doing it. And I give the racing example all the time, and this is yet another instance where that is very appropriate, because I used to race go-karts, and it's extremely fun, and I'm not saying I'm the best at it, by no means, but I wasn't half bad at it, you know. But as it turns out, it's very expensive to race go-karts, man. Well, who knew, right? Who knew? And so I ended up buying a kart and maintaining it for some time, but at the end of the day, man, I just really couldn't do it. It was too expensive. I didn't make enough money to do it at the time. Maybe today I would be able to do it, but you know, now obviously priorities have shifted, and so yeah, it's not the current thing for me, which sucks, but you know, let's charge the tornado here. Oh, come on, man. There we go. What? Okay. There we go. And obviously there's other things, like for example, if you like, I don't know, golfing. It's another good example, I suppose. There's stuff that you're gonna need the funds to keep like a subscription to some club or whatever. That's gonna make it hard for you to do that. Maybe I'm talking mostly about stuff that you can actively do, like if you, I don't know, like watching anime. I suppose that's pretty cheap, right? But that is not in itself a career really, or something that you can. Oh man, there's the way to use the boomerang here as well, but I always like doing the jump. No, let's try using the boomerang. Or not. How does it go up? No, that's fucking why I always do the jump, man. I don't know how to do it to the boomerang. This is another one of those, I'm gonna use the emulator as an excuse, but in this case it's very true. There's lots of like very precise jumps here in Mega Man X that being on console on a CRT like makes a world of difference. But oh, another thing, retro consoles is a good one. I like retro consoles a lot, but I completely gave up on the idea of actually buying the games, and there's no way. It's just too much. I have some EverDrives, and that's good and all, but like actually buying the cards, like, it's over, man. And I guess nobody can do that anymore. Just because. Nice, man. I'm mad. I'm mad. Do I keep the heart? I hope so. Let's see. Very big on overusing the tornado weapon, as you can see, man. What can I do? It's really, what can I say? It's really good. All right, we have it. Defeats the turtle so easily, and the song is so good. Jesus Christ, man! And this game is super fun. If you haven't played this game, like, really do it. If anything, for the music alone, you should do it. Okay, I knew I was gonna die there, so, you know. No, I want the tornado, man. The tornado won't hit, fuck. Okay, we're good. But yeah, budgets. So, yeah, sometimes you want to do stuff, but it's not possible. And this goes for your kids as well, of course. So your kid is gonna show interest in stuff that you're not gonna be able to fund, and it sucks as a parent, you know. But what can you do? I'm just gonna wait. It's a bit slower to defeat him like this, but for sure safer. Getting very close, man. The weapon's so busted, man. Alright, against this guy. Now, back to the kids argument, man. You really should try and buy whatever you can in your budget allows that your kids show interest in, if you think that it will help them eventually. Like, I have two good examples for that. One is the Lego thing. That helped me a lot, and I'm trying to do that with my kids again. And I know of several kids that like use Legos as a springboard for like engineering or STEM careers or whatever, right? And it's not without reason. What is the first stage here? I guess it doesn't matter, right? Does it sting Chameleon? I have to make the jump, but never mind. I'll do Armadillo. So Legos, for example, are really good, and it goes with the same with books, or there's those robotics experiments that you can buy for them. Like really stuff that encourages your kids to be constantly learning. That is usually a very good investment, because there's a jump here. There we go. Another excellent song, man. Okay, there's this guy here. Wait for him to pass. There you go. These legs game so fucking much. I know that sometimes things can be very expensive to buy, but you know, in terms of like the amount of benefit that they give, it's really worth it. So one example is the Legos, right? The Legos, as I said, is really good. And another thing is the keyboard thing that I mentioned. What do I want to do? Yeah, let's just do it from behind, I suppose. There we go. I could use even the boomerang cutter here to pick this up, I suppose. 1, 2. 1, 2, right? I keep jumping here to reduce the lag. Then you do a jump at the end. You don't have to pick this up. You just have to see this area here 4 times to get a Hadouken. And there we go. I used to comment a lot of this game while I was playing it. I should have charged the horizontal shot here. That's my bad. I'll make do. So the keyboard thing is one that it was really good for both my kids in that I just bought a keyboard. That's all I did, and I left it in the living room, you know. And at first, both my kids are just like sitting there and just mash the keys randomly, and it would be like the worst thing because it's making this huge amount of noise in the house. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I can't take this. I'm gonna ask them to stop. But you know what? I just wait. I just let it happen. And then eventually, after weeks, after months, they're trying to play something that is approaching a melody. And then another thing that I did was buy a PC for my son. I'll eventually buy one for my daughter, but she's a bit young right now. And maybe this is actually a very good topic for a video, which is like I have a very particular opinion on PCs and smartphones for kids. But hey, that video, let me write this down here. Mobile for kids. All right, that's gonna be my next video, man. Like I have a very controversial opinion, or maybe not controversial. I have a opinion on this, and I really want to make a video on that, and it just occurred to me that would be a good video. Okay, so what's the good weapon here? I think it's the shock one, right? Yeah. Fuck. Then I don't want to use Rolling Thunder. I guess I can use the Boomerang Cutter now. There you go. Oof, almost fell. Right now I want the tornado. I should have... That did it? Okay. Alright, that was a bit surprising to me, to be honest with you. Thought I had to do the shard shot, but I suppose not. There we go. It's a very fast stage if you know what you're doing, which is really fun. There we go. Another great song. There is not a single bad song in this game. It's just uncanny, man. I have never seen like a soundtrack that is actually just good songs. So this guy is gonna be right here. Oh man, I still know how to play the game. Check this out. All right, now we're gonna use rolling shield. Yeah, feels good. Feels good. Feels good. So I was talking about the PC thing, right? So, well, actually, let me focus on Launch Octopus here. This is the hardest boss fight, regular boss fight in the game, because he really does a lot of damage, especially seeing as I don't have the double defense right now. To avoid the direct contact with him, and Rolling Shield is effective, but it's not like completely overpowered as the Shotgun Eyes, for example, is against Spark Mandrill. So you kind of have to play the fight legitimately somewhat here. But yeah, so I bought my kid a PC, as I was saying, my son. And then I installed one of those Mario Paint games. You know, like Mario Paint is super good, man. If you haven't played Mario Paint, or especially if you haven't shown them to your kids, really consider it. Great game. And so you can just like build the song using the notes, and Mario just jumps on them and everything. And then over time, doing that and stuff like Line Rider, or then there's others like Mario Paint, alternate stuff for PC as well. My son started like understanding a little bit of reading, the sight reading music, like not in a formal way, right? I'm not saying he actually can do it, but understanding, okay, this is where my do is and how I would build this melody with these notes and everything. And then when he gets back to the piano, I started buying some sight reading books for kids with very, very simple songs with symbols rather than the actual notes in there. Like there's the sun and there's the other things. And just sitting with him, hey, let's play this song. So your finger goes here, your other finger goes there, and just placing the hand correctly on the keyboard and just starting playing. And then once I'm at work and I'm here just doing my thing, you know, I should use the... My go-to weapon for every situation in this game is just the tornado. If I don't know what to do, just use a tornado, man. That's it. Okay, let's pick up the heart first, and then we do the double defense. There we go. So if you defeat Launch Octopus before, then there will be other water here, which is why I did the stages in that order. Now this sub-boss is coming along. And then another thing that I found in terms of like... Okay, I'm gonna use Boomerang Cutter a little bit because this fight is impossible. Impossibly long without it. And this fight is so freaking long, man. I don't want to use all the weapon energy for the Boomerang Cutter because I'm gonna have to use that against the boss. I guess I could destroy some enemies along the stage and just recover the weapon energy. That would be an option for sure. There we go. It's the final armor piece, aka the double defense, or the chest piece. And other games that I have put on the PC that really have had a positive impact, stuff like Algodo, which is just like general physics, exploration, and what else? I already mentioned Line Rider. There's those putt-putt games and Freddy Fish, and there's others from the same company and on Steam. That is really good, just like for general learning English, really, and just, you know, getting to interact with the world and solving simple puzzles, that kind of stuff. I actually don't need fight is free, man. What am I doing? I guess I can pick this up. And so the general gist of what I'm saying is that the more stuff that I have exposed my kids to, and I'm not using my daughter as much of an example, but there's obviously stuff in there. It's just that I've yet to introduce more things to her as of yet. But generally, I found that the more stuff I expose them to doing, the better results they have, not only in school, but also like generally with development. So when other kids come here to the house or we just go to a party or something, I really see the difference that these minor things like having a keyboard on the living room, you know, like it's nothing. but this has like a much bigger impact than what I would think initially, you know. And the PC thing and the mobile thing that I'll have another video with a calmer game to talk about that in the future. And yeah, generally just exposing your kids to stuff is a very, very good idea. And you can grab that from your own experience, right? So if you come back and think of all the things that you expose yourself to when you are younger, and then you think, well, what do you do today? What are you good at? And you'll find that it's very likely that they're all things that you had major exposure to, you know? There's a direct correlation there. Let's see if I have another argument here. Might go to... Oh yeah, so the self-learning thing as well. So this is more for you now, not if you don't have kids or anything. Now this is a more general argument. So the more things you expose yourself to, the better you get at them, but there is a limit to that, right? So just like by sheer random experimentation, there is some hard limit that you can reach whereby you're gonna have to learn some other way, right? And this is where like courses and coaching, they come in. So like, I guess sports is a good example I have in here. So for example, soccer, which is a very big sport here in Brazil, as you can imagine. I played my whole life, but I never actually practiced soccer in any significant fashion. And so I kind of got better-ish at it, but the most I could really hope to do is like some casual playing with friends. Like if you would put me to play with people that actually know what they're doing, I'll just embarrass myself. And when you compare that to other things that I have actually practiced, like as I mentioned, speed skating or water polo or cycling even a little bit, then it's really interesting how much the fact that I practiced that kind of stuff really made an impact for me. And how can you practice? Well, if it's something that is physical, like sports, you're probably looking at coaching. You know, coaching would be your best bet, really. If you get a coach, or if you enroll yourself in some sort of class, then that would expedite the process of learning and getting better at something like tremendously. Now, if it's not... Now, let's... Also a good one for you to already start filling up your read tanks on these stages. Now, if it's something that is more... it's more cognitive, something that you learn even for your profession or like an instrument or something, then you can get some good mileage out of self-study, right? So online courses, that kind of jazz. So I've learned quite a few things, especially professionally, just by going to Udemy or some sort of situation. I just go there and buy a course and I start studying by myself. And it does work out pretty well. It has its limitations, obviously, and it does depend on the type of person that you are, you know, because there are people that are more inclined of learning alone and others that do need some sort of guidance to like understand more concepts, and so that varies person to person, of course, but there's a balance between things, right? Another example, racing is a good one. So I never had any professional training racing whatsoever, just like driving cars and driving the kart, as I mentioned, and now iRacing. And I really hit a brick wall in my progression once I started like joining upper splits and trying to race people that are actually good. And the only way that I could unlock some more potential was by buying a specialized course from a coach and really just like understanding and trying to improve everything little by little. And I've already hit the second brick wall right now, whereby I'm having some difficulty in improving. Oh, there you go. Now we have Hadouken. And really, I think the only way I could keep progressing in my racing quote-unquote career would be to hire a coach and do that, you know. And so that goes for other things that you do as well. So if you would, I'm gonna stop now because I'm gonna have to focus a lot here on the signal stages, and I can't escape. And I'm pretty much done with the subjects I wanted to talk anyways. But yeah, generally that's the gist of the video, that exposure is the first. I say the title is exposure is the key to success, but really is the first, and I would say the most important part of success, because you will never get good at stuff that you don't get exposed to, at least initially. So try and have lots of experiences, even with things that you don't initially think that you like, because you may end up liking them, right? Once you have those experiences and you find stuff that you like, be it as a hobby, be it as a job, whatever, then you have to try and expose yourself the most that you can to those things. And budget can be a problem, and so you kind of have to select what you get interested in, which sucks, I know. But let's say you don't make that much money, certainly my case, I suppose, and then you want to, I don't know, get really good at golf. It's probably not going to happen, because you're going to have to pay some clubs to be a member, and then there's the golf clubs, and then there's a bunch of stuff related, right? But bearing that, if you can find interests that are affordable, are within your price range, then you have to find ways to expose yourself the most that you can. So if you like playing a particular instrument, the easiest way obviously would be to just buy the instrument and have it with you in your house. We can have a talk about the quality of stuff that you buy, and this is probably another good subject for a video, as I found, in like if you should buy the most expensive things that you can, or if you should buy the cheapest things. So how would you go about purchasing stuff for your hobbies and for your interests? But that's a different subject, right? So now that you have the exposure, you have the possibility of getting in contact with that interest that you have every day. Now it's a matter of getting good at it. So there is self-study, of course. You can buy books, you can buy courses, and at some point in time you're probably going to need coaching, because there comes a point in time where you hit a barrier on your self-analysis capacity, and then you need someone else who knows more than you to come along and say, hey man, you should do this or you should do that, just because these are the things that you're not seeing currently that you need. And if you have kids, I think this is a big theme for this video, as most of my videos will be, I suppose, because it's where my life is at this point. Providing exposure to your kids is huge. It's just huge. So if you have the means to, and you even can make some sacrifices to make it happen, try to expose your things to the most that you can. So musical instruments, books, educational toys, educational computer games, why not? Traveling in general, like if you can go to a different country even, or even within your own country, make trips that you can show them, like a park or a kids museum, or somewhere that they can do like physical experiments or see stuff happening. That's all really good and really formational, and like don't skimp on that, because the formational years of a child are really important, and you can really see how fast they develop with this exposure that you can provide. All right, let me review my topics here, but I think I've gone over everything. Yeah, and then we have already a good candidate for a next video. I'm sorry if my talking wasn't the most fluid in this video, just that first of all, I like this game very much, so that's one thing. I'm really happy I played it, and I think I'll finish it once I'm done with the video. I just stopped playing because I know that these next 4 stages, they really demand a lot of concentration, so I wouldn't be able to finish up the video and talk fluently as I am right now. And yeah, hopefully you liked seeing the game. If you had seen it before, if you hadn't, probably a good one you should try to play. The whole series is really good, up until X4 at least, right? And up until that point, and then it gets difficult, I suppose. But yeah, thanks for watching. I've seen some nice comments in the video. Thanks for the feedback, and yeah, I'll be back soon with more stuff. Cheers, see you soon.